distinct pleasure to introduce you to tonight's LGBT Heritage Day honoree within the faith community. The Reverend Michael Schuenemeyer, the United Church of Christ National Executive for Health and Wholeness Advocacy and Executive Director of UCAN, the United Church of Christ HIV and AIDS Network, is not only a gift within and among us in the UCC, but his significant and sustained leadership has made a profound contribution and difference far beyond the UCC in ecumenical, interfaith, political, secular, nonprofit, and global NGO settings as well. His persistent, committed work for LGBT equality, sexuality education, and HIV/AIDS ministries is recognized widely across this country and around the world. In the UCC, we know firsthand how Reverend Schuenemeyer's 10 years of work nationally has given shape to LGBT-inclusive social policy statements adopted by our church's General Synod. Work that has literally transformed who the UCC understands itself to be and how we are seen by others as a radically inclusive Christian denomination. But more than that, we celebrate how Mike's advocacy has informed, challenged, and even changed many religious and spiritual conversations and understandings far beyond the UCC among LGBT people and our families. Since joining the UCC's national staff, Mike has been instrumental in producing many resources, including the critically acclaimed gender identity documentary, Call Me Malcolm, screened in multiple international film festivals, starting here in Cleveland but extending around the world. He has authored groundbreaking study materials used in churches and among community organizations on bisexuality, gender expression, and a range of health and wholeness concerns. As a member of our denomination's wider church ministries, Mike's work emanates from Cleveland, but it impacts and extends globally. Drawing on his international experience in Asia, the Pacific, Africa, and the Caribbean, and at the United Nations, Mike provides significant leadership toward the implementation of a UCC General Synod resolution calling for international human rights in relation to sexual orientation and gender identity. Mike has provided important leadership for equal access to marriage rights, including a marriage equality resolution adopted by the UCC General Synod in 2005, the first of its kind by any mainline Christian denomination in this country. He has worked for marriage equality in California against Proposition 8 and in Massachusetts, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, and Washington State. He has been a founding board member of the Equality Ohio Education Fund. He serves on the leadership team of the UCC Coalition for LGBT Concerns and is a member of the steering committee of the National Religious Leadership Roundtable of the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. Engaged in HIV/AIDS ministries since the mid-'80s, Mike continues to work for the end of the HIV epidemic. His global engagements are too many for me to mention here, but most recently he served on the international planning team for the Faith Pre-Conference of the 19th International AIDS Conference held in Washington, D.C. this past July, and was part of civil society delegations that worked with governments at the 2006, 2008, and 2011 United Nations General Assembly Special Session on HIV. A native of Missouri, he is a lifelong UCCer, which makes him unique among us. He has a degree from the University of Missouri at Kansas City Conservatory of Music and a Master of Divinity degree from Eton Theological Seminary in St. Louis. Prior to joining the UCC's national staff, he serves local congregations in San Bernardino, South Pasadena, South Central Los Angeles, and Diamond Bar, California. Mike is much more than a long-time valued colleague. He is a hero of mine and a hero to many of us. And he and his partner and legally married spouse, Rowan, are good friends and West Cleveland neighbors in that great inclusive neighborhood, The Edge. I am so honored by this opportunity to be a part of this celebration of his integrity, his authenticity, his commitment, his ministry, his advocacy, and his faithfulness in service. Mike Schuenemeyer. Thank you so very much. I feel so honored to be in the company of these honorees, most of whom I know well and how much they deserve to be recognized for all they have done and continue to do. I want to thank you again for your gracious words of introduction, your friendship, and your collegiality. My thanks also to the LGBT Community Center for the great work that you're doing and for this recognition. And I want to thank my spouse, Rowan. He is indeed the wind beneath my wings. And my family, my parents especially, for their love and support. The work for LGBT inclusion, justice, and equality that I have been privileged to become involved with has been made possible because I serve in a community of faith and with many, many who are committed to this work, colleagues who know the still-speaking God, calling the world to live from a love that is all-inclusive and from a spirit that offers extravagant help and radical inclusion. As I've engaged, I've seen and experienced firsthand the ways in which anti-gay legislation and policies have been undergirded and co-opted by the values of the Christian right. From Focus on the Family to the Family Research Council, from the Family Watch International and the Institute for Religion and Democracy, these well-funded, well-organized efforts have too often successfully created a wedge in our communities that undermines the values of liberty and justice for all. We've overcome some of these efforts in Cleveland, in the county, and in other parts of Ohio and this country. And I'm convinced, especially in the wake of Ohio's Issue 1 back in 2004 and Prop 8 in California in 2008, that faith must continue to play a significant role in Ohio and across America if we are to turn the tide of anti-gay constitutional amendments and legislation, win the right to marry, and create communities that are safe and just for everyone. The campaigns for marriage equality in Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, and Washington State all have significant faith organizing efforts, and they are making an important difference in those efforts. And you can count on me and the United Church of Christ to continue our efforts, to join the collaborations that will win the day in Ohio as well. Thank you so much, and God bless.